We back. Oh yeah, we back. All black, everything. Come on in, tell a friend. Yes, indeed, all black, everything. We back with that good new edition. We've been lied to slash. Did you know? Like, share, subscribe, and thumbs up. Like you're hitchhiking, and let's get to it. We back with the when the world was black. Do your own research. We just dropping jewels, sharing information. Hey, you can take it, leave it, your choice, but always do your own research. We're coming with some things that you can go ahead and dig into. It's getting greater. Let's go, y'all. All back everything, big James when exchange, stickers, plate. Oh yeah. And it continues here. Who is the original man? The first humans. This is a quote here. The black man is the first and the last maker and owner of the universe. From him came all brown, yellow, red, and white people. The time has arrived when it must be told to the world. There are millions who don't not even know who is the original man. That's a quote from Elijah Muhammad, message to the black man. Black people are the original authors of all human history. Sounds like a bold claim, huh? Something that most people often say but can never fully substantiate. It's the type of statement that falls in league with quote black people are the mothers and fathers of all civilization end quote and quote all the gods of the world's religions were originally black end quote. These are some bold claims, often made by excited lit professors and arrogant rhetoricologists, but they are far from untrue. And these claims can be substantiated. The purpose of this book is not only to document the evidence behind claims like these, but to tell the story of how all this came to be. In this chapter, we will explore the history of the first humans, black men and women who possessed within themselves the genetic potential to produce all of the world's populations, as well as the cultural foundations for all the world's civilizations. What you will learn in this chapter: how the first humans were black people living in the part of the world known as Africa, how these original people came to be, why white scholars attempted to argue against these facts, where the concept of race comes from, and how it was used against black people, how black scholars began using racial data to prove that black history was world history, how this led to a new raceless or colorblind school of history and anthropology, why race still matters today, how all original people are different and yet related and very similar, who is black and who is not, and who cares. The first shall be last. This is a quote as well here. The black people, the original people, we go to school to learn about American history and we don't have knowledge of ourselves. We need to find out who we are instead of learning about someone else. Rapper Grand Pooba. That's the rapper Grand Pooba. Spin Magazine 1991. Shout out to Grand Pooba. Pooba. I like that. That's my guy. King. Without a doubt, the first man was black. There's absolutely no reason to think otherwise. Whether you're using Gallagher's rule, genetic markers, or features of the oldest skeletal remains ever found, you can't possibly come to any other conclusion. Hell, simple common sense will tell you that if it all happened in Africa, all must have been black. They must have been black. Yet scientists once did everything they could to fight this idea from becoming fact. Within the past 2 centuries, scholars of considerable authority were writing history books, his storybooks. And that's all it is, a story of his, like a Miss Muffet sat on the tuffet. Books that relied upon the authority of the Bible to prove that the first man was white and blacks were the cursed descendants of whites. and that all the human history occurred within the past 6,000 years. Come on, Johnny lately, come lately, come Johnny late. 6,000 years, man. The pyramids is almost older than that, man. Shimon, man. Shimon. Peace and rest in peace to King Michael Jackson. You might you might want to believe that things have changed, or you may know they haven't. If the recent attempts to write black and brown people out of out of school history curriculum, e.g., in Arizona and Texas, are any indications, you know that the mainstream versions of history can be seriously flawed. You might have realized that we learn, a history of lies, as I did when you first heard about Christopher Columbus discovering America, even though the Indians were already here, or the natives, mainly black, or how those Indians were warlike savages, even though they taught the pilgrims how to farm, catch fish, and survive the winter. hmm And that's the thanks we get. No Thanksgiving, after Thanksgiving. It's safe to say that some aspects of the standard telling of history are flawed, biased, missing, distorted, or just plain wrong, or just lies outright, in my opinion, and observation. So it should be no surprise that even in 2012, there are scientists still attempting to validate a multi generational hypothesis for the origin of man. In other words, they want to prove that different races evolved in separate places, and all of them do not descend from human ancestors in Africa. You'll find similar attempts to scientifically distance origins from black throughout this book. We can, however, safely say that all humans on the planet today are descendants from a single ancestral population that can be traced back to East Africa about 200,000 years ago. The evolution of original people. Original means that we were here in the first place. To understand exactly how and why we are the original people, you will have to understand a very misunderstood concept called evolution. If you've read this Science of Self Value, you already know that. One, evolution is a scientific theory that teaches that living things change over generations. Evolution does not actually teach that man comes from monkeys. Our ancestors can be traced all the way back to the origin of life itself. Every phase of our ancestors, from single celled organisms up to modern man, has had melanin as an organized chemical and increased levels of consciousness, providing the blueprint for future growth, order, and direction. Before modern humans, we had mainly hominid ancestors who were also black and born in Africa, were variations of the prototype that eventually gave way to us. There are literally millions of years of human history that come before the first humans emerged from the mud or the mix around 200,000 years ago. The Science of Self, Volume 1 explains in considerable depth that and detail where the original man comes from, how he came about, and how far back his origins really go. In this book, we'll tell you the story, we'll tell his story at the same level of depth and detail. We'll learn about the black people who founded all of the world's first cultures and civilizations, looking into their lifestyles, their accomplishments, and their diversity. This is a story covering over 200,000 years. Yes. Yeah, you better get your notebooks and your pens ready because it goes back as far as you can see, like in the ocean. As far as you can see, ain't nothing but water. Original people, we've been here. Better understand it when the world was black, y'all. Powerful information, dropping jewels, pick it up, or you don't. Sharing information, like and share, subscribe, thumbs up, like we're hitchhiking. Let's go. Peace and love, y'all. All black everything. Thank you. right? Big dreams, many streams.